The following is a Podcast One Minnesota production.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
If it's made in Minnesota, who's making it and how?
Yeah, you got that right.
It's the Makers of Minnesota, focusing on the products and services uniquely made in Minnesota, and conversations with the makers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Minnesota about how they conceived of their products and how they brought them to market. With Stephanie Hansen, it's the Makers of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to The Makers of Minnesota. We are here at episode 47, and if you have enjoyed listening to these podcasts and introducing yourself to some of the great makers of Minnesota, please tell others about it. It's amazing. I was listening to another podcaster the other day talking about how there's still so many people who don't know about podcasting or don't know how to access them. You can find them on your phone, of course, in your iTunes, but you can also find them on applications like Stitcher or Podcast One, and there's a lot of ways to find these podcasts. Once you get addicted to them, it's kind of, you just keep going. So if you know someone that you think would be a good listener for the podcast, please let them know about our podcast. You can send them a link online as well. We're on Facebook at Makers of Minnesota, and we're on Instagram, Makers of MN, Twitter, Makers of MN. And if you've got ideas for guests, we're always looking for people doing cool things. Please feel free to send them my way. You can find me at Makers of MN on Twitter or Stephanie's Dish. I have a website there also. And either way, no matter how you find me, I would love to hear your stories. Today, I have a story. As some of you may or may not know, I had a business that I sold about 24 months ago. And right away, your first instinct is like, what are you going to do when you sell your business? And I've always had this fantasy in my brain about that I was going to get a camper and go camping. I have never camped. I have a cabin in Ely, Minnesota that is quite lovely, but I've always felt like I've missed out on not seeing the world from the perspective of a camper. So I've been searching for Airstreams, and my husband is very into these 1970s camper trailer trucks. And I came across Bert Taylor's company called Vistabule, and you are here with me today. Hi, Bert.
Hi.
Okay, so I think I found out about your company in the same way you kind of decided to make your company. I read that you were traveling around and you were thinking, hey, there has to be a good way to do this. And you were looking at different trailers and decided you could build it better. Is that right?
Well, kind of.
Okay, so tell me your version.
Well, I was doing something. I was doing computer rendering, photorealistic renderings for my brother-in-law, and I was spending my nest egg, and I had to do something before I spent it all. So I knew about teardrop trailers. And
had you had one?
I'd never had one, no.
Okay.
But I was very interested in the vintage trailers, the Shastas, the 1960s, the 1950s, the 1940s, the Airstreams. And I was very interested in vintage trailers. And then one day a friend said, do a Google search of teardrop trailers. And I had never heard of them.
Yep.
And once I saw them, I went, oh, my God, this is a scale, a size that is something that is almost furniture-like, something that I could handle, because I've been a woodworker my entire adult life, made a lot of furniture and things like that. So I thought that's something that I could do. I had done some research, and I discovered that other teardrop manufacturers were doing just fine, doing traditional style teardrops.
Yep.
So really there were no barriers aside from all the learning curves that I would have to go through. And I figured that would happen in time. So I went into it with the idea that I wanted to start a business, because I had been sole proprietor for most of my life, and I missed having a shop. And so I went back to it.
So when you're looking around at trailers, there's a lot of cool old trailers out there, and my husband will send me links to them on Craigslist, and we should get this and we should get that. And I mean, I just know that unless it's nice, I'm not going to like it because I'm kind of spoiled that way. So I love the vintage piece of it, but I want it to have like nice pieces in it. I want to be able to read in there. I want to be able to keep the mosquitoes out. And so I saw your trailer, and it's so much different than a traditional teardrop trailer. It's like a piece of furniture. It's really nice. It has these giant windows in them, and you can have not only a lot of the teardrops, it's just a bed, and then the back flips up, and there's, your propane gas stove there. Yours converts into a couch and a table. So if it's like you're somewhere and it's a rainy day, you can sit inside and play cards. In the doors, there's these little side pieces that flip up. So now you have like the nightstand where you can put your book. And there's so many little details that are so cool. I am just dying about this thing. I love it.
Well, you have to come to the shop, and
Oh, I do.
We'll let you sleep in one overnight, and we'll lock you in the shop and come back in the morning and let you out.
I love the idea. I could actually do this, so don't think that I wouldn't.
We've had people
you
do
have
that.
these big windows in there, and a regular car can pull these things, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, a station wagon, a truck, a Chevy Blazer, those kind of things.
Well, the whole point of the teardrop is that any smaller car can tow it. Crossover, a small SUV. These four-cylinder engines now are really hell for stout. They can pull at just about anything. So we've had people with Foresters or Outbacks or RAV4s or Priuses.
Yeah.
Smaller cars so you don't have to get a big pickup.
Yep.
And white knuckle it down the highway. Pulling a 3,000-pound rig.
When was your first one that you sold coming off the assembly line? How long ago was that?
That was about 6 years ago.
Okay. And how many do you think you sold last year?
Last year we sold about 50, 55.
And I read that you would like to sell 100 this year. Are you on track?
I think we're on track for that. Yep.
And do you have to hire more people in order to double your capacity in a year? Is it people or is it just marketing? Where's the scale there?
Well, the marketing seems to take care of itself. People that are interested in teardrops, all they have to do, and all they do is just go online and search teardrops.
Yeah.
And so we pop up pretty quickly. And because we're pretty unique in the industry, people see it and understand what we're doing that's different and get a hold of us.
Mm-hmm.
It works better than going to the state fair or going to an RV show, or it's direct.
Because it's more targeted, because they know what they want and they're shopping.
Yep. So what was the other part of your question?
How do you scale it up? So if you did 50 last year and you do 100 this year, is it manpower? Is it?
It's a balance because we've got about 10 employees total, including myself. And a big part of it is just making the processes work smoothly, designing the trailers so that the parts come in and they're accurately made, and the assembly process goes smoothly and in a chronological order. So we're working through those kinds of production issues. And then getting people familiar with the processes, and so it's having and then having everything that you need to build a trailer on hand when you need it.
Yep.
And
so
not have
inventory.
to wait, or we forgot this, or we didn't order that, or these are back ordered. So we're working on those types of things, and those really go a long ways towards ramping up production.
Is there a season when people tend to buy these? I mean, is it spring and summer?
It seems like it starts to build in early February, and then there's a kind of a crescendo in March sometime.
It seems like the resale value on them has to be high too. I mean, people are so interested in them, and the tiny house movement is really probably not hurting you either.
We don't have any used trailers out there. We'd like to there's a lot of people that are interested in used trailers.
Yep.
But they're so new that we don't have any yet. But they should hold their value for a long time. They're a unique product, so you're not buying a generic RV that you might see on a RV lot. These are crafted to be kind of an heirloom.
I can tell by the way that you're talking about it and that the way you're talking about the scale of scaling up, that it is a piece of art to you and your makers that, even though you could hire 30 more people and create more of a factory-like setting, that's not what you're interested in. You are interested in the lifestyle of helping these people get to their dream destination.
Well, that is a big part of it. Is the people, our customers, are the greatest. You just be amazed at how wonderful these people are, and they become part of my family.
And they must send you pictures, and
they send us pictures. They name their trailers, and it's just really fun. And I'm living through them vicariously. I haven't been able to take a Vistabule trip for six and a half years now. So I'm getting a lot of ideas of where I want to go.
Yeah.
And
and you have to be, I think, a certain kind of person to be a teardrop trailer person.
Right. A teardrop trailer person is really an explorer. They're not really interested in the RV lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
An RV lifestyle I think is more social. And you go and park your big RV with a bunch of people that have similar interests, and your kids hang out together and watch your big screen TV off your suspended deck off your RV, and you pull it with a great big pickup. And whereas teardrop trailer people, they see themselves as taking an adventure, and having an intimate experience with their spouse or their friend or whatever. Because you're going to be shoulder to shoulder it's a road trip, and you're going for the adventure of discovery. It's very different than RVing. You would not take this trailer and hang out with the RVers. You go to where you used to go when you pitched your tent.
Yeah, it is kind of like camping, I guess.
It is. It is like camping.
Yeah.
It's just that you're leaving even less of a footprint, and you pull in, you open up the hatch, and you make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a gourmet dinner, and you sit in the trailer on the couch and have a glass of wine and enjoy the view. And when it's time to go to bed, you turn it into a bed. And
it's amazing.
You sleep, and you have no impact on your campsite. So and it's an immediate kind of setup, so you don't have to crank it open or unfold it or do anything. It's just ready to go.
And your trailer from a price point, it's about $18 to $25. Is that about right? Depending on the accessories.
That's the range. Mm-hmm.
And how does that compare to other teardrop trailer manufacturers? Are you on the premium end? Are you on the lower end?
I'd say we're on the high end.
Okay. If you were explaining to someone, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're explaining to someone why that premium price, how would you identify that for them?
Well, our trailers are unique and are pretty difficult to build. Actually, it's not. We don't use off-the-shelf windows or doors or parts. We kind of have had to, because of the shape, the unique shape of it, the aesthetic parameters that I had. I couldn't buy things off the shelf, so I had to fabricate these things myself or figure out a way to do it myself to keep the aesthetic lines that I was trying to do. And, if I had known that it was going to be so much trouble, I probably would have gone to a more traditional trailer.
Right.
But a high-end teardrop trailer, it's time-consuming to build, and there are mass-produced teardrops out there that are, maybe 8,000 to 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
A little guy makes a lot of trailers. They're probably the major manufacturer in the country, and they mass produce them.
Right.
And they tend to be more. They use more composite panels and things that the bigger RV boys do. And we're trying to stay true to kind of an iconic Americanic feeling, and so we're using Baltic birch and hardwoods that you actually touch and feel on the inside of the trailer, and then we're just trying to keep our design. We're trying to not compromise our design, and
your window is a big selling point and a big differentiation, isn't it? There's a giant window on the top of the ceiling.
It's a big difference between other teardrops. It's big enough so that you can see the horizon, but when you're laying in bed, you can see a big view of the sky.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what I wanted to. I didn't want it to be just a place where you sleep at night, because that's what most teardrops are. They're beautiful to see, and you approach them, and they're just cute as get out, right? But when you get in them, you go, I'd only want to be in here when it's time to go to bed. It's claustrophobic, I'm going to be in here when my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted it to be used all day long. I want you to be able to sit in there in the morning, enjoy your coffee, read the paper, or play some cribbage, or be sitting in, half out, have a good view all around you at all times. So it's almost like a campsite, or like a hotel room. A room with a view is what we call it, and you can be in it all day long and not feel guilty about being cramped up in some little cave. I'm
talking to Bert Taylor from Vistabule Trailers. The other interesting thing about your trailers, I thought, is you said that I read that the people come and pick them up.
That's right.
They come and get them. They do the tour with you. They walk through it. It isn't like you deliver it somewhere. They literally come to you and make a trip out of it. And they must be so excited to pick them up.
They are just ecstatic. It's amazing to watch people, and it just makes you get all warm and fuzzy inside.
And you're right in St. Paul here, so you're making these locally. You're hiring local people. You have a new prototype, I read. That's. Am I not supposed to talk about it?
Well, the word gets out. Sometimes you can't keep these things secret, but
that you might be doing something new. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I could talk about it, but don't hold me to it.
Okay. No holding you to it. This is a
and
maker
this is a
space.
Secret, okay? Just between you and me.
Just between you and me and whoever listens to this podcast.
The thing about teardrops is that it's appealing to an active lifestyle.
Yes.
And most of our customers, less and less all the time, but most of our customers have been between 55 and 65, empty nesters, and they need to check things off their bucket list. But a lot of young people out there, millennials, that want to go rock climbing, and they want to go cross-country skiing, and they want to travel, and they they like camping, but this is such a nice way to camp.
Yep.
To have a vestibule, that we'd like to make one that's maybe a little more affordable, maybe something that doesn't have so many bells and whistles, easier for us to make, and people who already have their camping equipment, they don't have to buy a new set of equipment. They can just use their camping equipment, and it kind of fits seamlessly into this trailer.
Yep.
So that's the idea behind it. Make it lighter, slightly smaller, but not too much smaller. But basically making it so that you have a comfortable place to sleep and hang. And it looks cool as hell going down the road behind whatever you want to tow with.
I love that idea. Do you have a name for that yet?
Well, the working title is Sweet Pea.
That's cute. I like it.
Or the Mini.
Yeah, I was going to say the Mini.
Yeah, millennial. Melly.
The millenni. Although millennials, I have heard, do not like being called millennial. They find it offensive.
What is it? What should we call it?
I don't know. And the idea that they're called anything they find offensive. Now, are you offended when someone calls you a boomer?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I think I'm either a boomer or Gen X. I don't know. I'm 49, but
I used to be called a hippie.
Yeah, you did. My husband did too. Well, Bert, I really have enjoyed talking to you. It's Vistabule, Vistabule. They're teardrop trailers. They're just works of art. They're made over here in St. Paul. They are beautiful. And if this is something that you're interested in or you have an active lifestyle, I mean, honestly, I am going to seriously have to try to talk my husband into getting one. I just think they're so neat. You know, another market too, I don't know if you've thought about this, but to rent them.
A lot of people are interested in renting them. That's kind of a whole other business.
Yeah.
And we have to have a kind of a repair shop because it's not uncommon for somebody to damage a trailer.
Yep.
And we're not there yet, but at some point we'd like to be. I mean,
yeah, I would think that would be a great business.
So.
It would be fun to, just speaking for myself, it is an investment. So, do I know if I'm going to enjoy it? I'm kind of, like I said, I've never even camped in a tent. I'm embarrassed to say.
Then you, of all people, should come and stay.
Spend the night in the warehouse.
Shop, yeah. With your husband.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. We appreciate it. It's Vistabule teardrop trailers, and they're beautiful, so you guys should check them out. Thanks, Bert.
Thank you, Stephanie.